I guess Lindsay here with Storybook Family Farm. So on Wednesday, Tracy and I had actually gone down to a manufactured home like dealership. I guess that's what you would consider it. They don't build them there; they just sell them there. So yeah, I guess a dealership. But so we went there to look and see at the different models that they had to really like walk through stuff to see like. Granted, we've lived in a single wide before, and there's nothing wrong with that or anything of the sort, we wanted to see if like who we've grown into being, if we would be satisfied or content with that, because the last two homes that we've owned have actually been, well, I mean, technically, I don't really consider the camper a home, even though we lived in there for almost a year. That doesn't feel like a home. But so the last two homes that we have owned since having the single wide were actually old houses. So we've always been really big into old houses, and I've always really loved them. But the simplicity level of doing like a single wide, especially with aging and things of that nature and having joint problems, makes life a lot easier, makes things less complicated, especially because we're pretty tired from doing so many renovations here that it's just like, oh man, that the thought of that was really nice to be able to go, well, this is pretty much going to be instantly a house. So this would be nice. And stuff that like we don't have to do a whole massive amount of work, even though like putting it on raw land would be a lot of work. Like it just we wanted to see what that option looked like because we really needed some clarity on it. So we looked around, we asked a million questions, and basically found out that it'd probably be around 6 months as a minimum to go from buying the raw land to being able to live there. And that just, it doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel like the right timeline, the right time frame. And then also too, like from an affordability standpoint, we would be stuck with something that we wouldn't really be all that in love with. And at this point in our journey, we really want to just do stuff that like really lights our hearts up because as you guys know, the whole time pretty much that we've been here, like my heart has not been in this property, which doesn't help the fact that like the energy here just doesn't flow. Like I don't know if you've ever experienced like where things just flow naturally together and things just everything falls into place easily. It's pretty easy to tell when things are not that way. Like most of the projects here have been made 100 levels more complicated and more difficult than they needed to just because things just didn't flow. Like it's hard to explain. If you know, you know. But so we kind of were like real hesitant on it, and then after looking at the different trailers and stuff, the different models and things of that nature, we're like, okay, like the one that would be somewhat okay with getting is going to cost just as much as if we bought something that already was somewhat ready to move into. So yeah, it was kind of complicated to be like, what is the best option? So for over the weekend, I actually asked our realtor if she could show us a property that had a really big fixer upper on it. It didn't have that much more land than what we actively have right now. Like it has, I think it's like 2.87 acres, and we have 2 acres currently. But most of our land is not that usable for homesteading purposes, so it's kind of tricky. So like, yeah, we have 2 acres, but it's more like we have a functional 1 acre. So we had wanted to be able to find something that has significantly more land than what we have. But when we actually looked at this fixer upper, we kind of were like, wow, our hearts are singing here. Like our hearts are like literally like, oh, like I was like, this is so weird that like everything feels right, even though like there was a massive amount of work that needs done. So Tracy and I, we actually went and we looked at the property, looked at the land before we had our realtor come too, because we didn't want to like take all the time to make an appointment to then have the realtor come and have her husband come too. So that way, we're not three chicks walking around an abandoned house together. In the middle of nowhere. That just seems like a dangerous situation waiting to happen. But so, we wanted to do our due diligence to see if it actually would work or not. So when we were walking around it, like there was grass that was taller than I was, like weeds way taller than me and stuff. So I mean, we couldn't really walk the land too easily. But what we actually were able to see and find was that like everything felt like the doors were wide open. Like the world of possibilities were wide open for us, and that it was essentially the best of both worlds because like there's no barn there, so we would have to then build the barn. We'd have to lay out the property how we wanted it, so it'd be essentially like doing the raw land thing, but there's already utilities there, there's already a house there, there's already things put in place that would make things a lot easier, plus the land would be easier workable than the raw land we looked at. So we were kind of like, man, this is pretty cool. And like we had both noted that when we were walking around the property that it actually felt like my grandpa's place, even though it looked nothing like it, not in the same area, not in the same county even and stuff. And to be quite honest, my grandpa's house has been demolished, so like it doesn't exist anymore. So like after he had passed away, when my mom was getting ready to sell his property and stuff to like settle the estate, she actually had me come in and repaint the whole house to try to make it look nicer, to try to, spruce it up some. So whenever I was painting his house, I was kind of sad when I finished it all up, because I was like, man, I'm probably never going to be able to feel this emotion again, feel this energy again, to feel this, like, just this amount of love and like this energy. Like, it just, I don't know, it's a very freeing feeling to have felt. But so when we were walking around the land there, we were like, this is weird, because it kind of feels like walking around Grandpa's, like just this, like, come as you are, wide open, like everything's just ready to welcome you with open arms and stuff, which was a very strange thing to feel. So we ended up having the realtor. We went back several hours later with the realtor and our husbands, so we had basically a bodyguard, to be quite honest. Like, when Tracy and I looked at the house, there none of the doors were locked, and several of them were like open partially. So we were like, this just seems pretty sketchy. So when we went back and we looked at it, we realized that the house needs pretty much as much work as what our current house did. Except for it doesn't need a new roof, because somebody did that, and somebody replaced all of the windows within the last century. Unlike ours still has all of the original, like, wavy glass windows, which are very drafty sometimes. But anyways, so when we were walking around the place, like, Tracy and I, we took note of all the work that needed done and all that stuff, but it didn't feel heavy like I had envisioned it would. Like, I had envisioned that the thought of even just starting another fixer-upper, that it just would feel so heavy and so burdensome and just so exhausting, because that's how this project has felt and stuff. But like, when we walked around it, it did not feel that way at all. It felt like almost like the wind was behind our sails and was just going to push us forward and just like propel us, like, to just something that just, I don't know, it felt like all of the energy was just lining up and flowing for us in such a beautiful way and stuff. And like, everywhere that we walked in the house, like, it just still felt like almost like getting a hug. Like, it was just, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I literally texted my cousin the next day and I was like, dude, we looked at a house yesterday and I swear to God, it feels just like walking through Grandpa's. Like, it just hits you right in the feels. Like, it just, I don't know. But anyways, so that house is definitely something that Tracy and I are very interested in. We took the whole weekend to really just think on it and sort of sleep on it and just let it sort of ruminate and stuff for us to just sort of see like how we were feeling about this sort of thing, because it's a tremendous amount of work. Like, there's structural issues that need taken care of. There's some termite damage that I found, and just, a lot of other things. And obviously, like, if we're going to move forward with it, I'm going to go look at it again, probably have my friend that's a contractor that painted the outside of the house, probably going to have him come too, just so then that way we're not walking into a situation blindly. But so, yeah, it's a bit of a complicated situation with that house. So after we were looking at it and all that stuff, we found out that the seller is not able to be found at the moment. His real estate agent can't find them. The person just like has kind of ghosted the agency. So that's a bit of a problem. But so basically, our real estate agent is going to try to do some deep diving, some digging, to try to find the seller, to find who actually owns it now. Because the previous owner died in, I think according to the auditor's site, at some point in 2024. So it's been vacant for a long time, which has some concerns to it, because like, just like with buying this house, and this house was vacant for a while, like we had squirrels' nests to clean out of the cupboards and like all sorts of crazy stuff happened. But so, yeah, if we're going based off of the feels, there was a lot of like ding, 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 dings that were happening, and a lot of boxes that were checked on this property. But it's basically like the stars need to align properly and stuff, which, we're used to that sort of a situation. I was telling my friend about it the other day, and she's like, so you're telling me that you guys love this house, but it's basically one of those things that if the stars align properly and you're wearing blue on the right day, then you'll be able to get it. And I was like, yeah, but luckily for me, I wear blue almost every single day. Like right now I have blue shorts on and stuff. Like, I was like, so at least I know that everything on my end will be done. I will be ready. Whether this place is the place that we're going or it's the next place that we go, no matter what it is, at least I'm going to be wearing blue. At least my end is going to be done. So I think that that's kind of moving forward what I'm going to do. You guys are probably going to see me wearing a lot of blue. Like, my necklace has blue on it. My shirt has blue on it. My shorts have blue on it. Just to serve as such a simple reminder of all I can do is taking care of myself. All I can do is what's within my control. And then I can just basically lean on the divine to align the stars, to pull the strings, to make the miracles happen, to suddenly give my real estate agent the expertise that a private investigator has and stuff. Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, we've had so many mountains move for us in the past and different things aligning in such beautiful ways for us that it's easy for us to just sort of go, if it's meant for us, the doors will open. If it's not, then they're just going to slam shut in our face, and that's how we're going to be protected from making the wrong choice and stuff. So it's just kind of one of those things where I'm keeping my fingers crossed, and I wanted to give you guys an update, so that way maybe the power of extra fingers being crossed, maybe that'll help. So that way, if it is meant for us, then things will be easy for us to make an offer, easy for us to find the seller, easy for us to just get all the balls rolling, to just sort of move forward, that it'll be effortless and stuff, because that's what we're really in need of at this point in our lives, is something that's not going to just be opposing forces against us the entire duration of things, because we really don't. We grew so much. It was such a period of growth to purchase this place, to develop it, to fix it, to it just stretched us so far beyond what we ever thought either of us could do and stuff, that it's just like, okay, the next place can be easy. Like, yeah, it might be a lot of work. For most people, they'd think that was hard, but for us, like, as long as it flows right, it'll be easy. Like, it's hard to explain it. So anyways, that's the biggest update that I have for you guys. I don't want to give like updates all the time until we like know stuff, because it just sort of, I'd feel bad if I was getting everybody's hopes up all the time. But so that's kind of where we're at. We've kind of checked the raw land off of the list of realms of possibilities, just because it just doesn't feel right. Like, the land was great. We loved the land. If there was already a home there, we'd be like over the moon. But the whole process of all of that, like, it just doesn't feel right. And we would not have known that until we walked through that rundown fixer-upper of a brick house. Like, it's kind of crazy. But so yeah, that's it for today. I've got to try to get my hair to dry the rest of the way, so that way I can go about doing all my appointments and all of my running and all of that fun stuff to do. So anyways, thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys.